He was overjoyed to see the bridge, as Miss Shang had instructed him to cross the Good Samaritan ferry bridge. He grasped the iron chains and stepped onto the bridge. The bridge consisted of 4 iron chains, with the below supporting wooden planks for walking and 2 on the sides as handrails. As he stepped onto the bridge, the chains began to sway, and the movement became more pronounced in the middle of the river. Glancing down, he saw the river water churning and creating countless bubbles, rushing past beneath his feet like a galloping horse. He dared not look down anymore, focusing his eyes ahead, and eventually made his way to the other side of the bridge. After resting by the bridge for a while, he followed the path Miss Shang had described and walked briskly. After about half an hour, he faced a dense, dark forest, realizing he had arrived at the entrance of the 10,000 Calamities Valley where Miss Shang lived. Approaching, he saw a row of 9 towering pine trees on the left. Counting from the right, he went to the 4th tree that Miss Shang had instructed, and found a cave entrance behind it after parting the long grass. He thought to himself, the location of the 10,000 Calamities Valley is truly concealed. If it weren't for Miss Shang's information, who would have known that the valley entrance is hidden inside a large pine tree? He crawled into the tree hole, parted the withered grass with his left hand, and grasped a large iron ring with his right. He lifted it and the wooden plank was revealed. After walking down a few steps, he placed the plank back in its original position and continued down the stone steps. After 30 steps, the steps turned to the right. After another 30 steps, he turned upwards and reached a flat area. In front of him was a vast expanse of grassland, and at the end were more pine trees. Walking across the grassland, he saw a large pine tree with a section of its trunk, about 10 feet long and a foot wide, planed off and painted white. On it were 9 large characters. Those with the surname when entering this valley will be killed without mercy. The 8 characters were black, but the character for kill was painted in a bright red color. Duan Yu thought to himself, why does the valley master hate those with the surname Duan so much? Even if someone with the surname Duan has offended him, there are thousands upon thousands of people with the surname Duan in the world. How could he possibly kill them all? At that time, the sky was dim, and the 9 characters were written in a menacing style. The character for kill was dripping with red paint, resembling a pool of blood, which made it even more terrifying. He thought, Miss Shang told me not to mention my surname, and now I understand why. She instructed me to knock on the 2nd character, which is Duan, 3 times. She didn't explicitly say Duan at the time, probably fearing that I would be angry. Knocking is fine, what is the harm? She saved my life and she is such a beautiful girl. Even if it means knocking 3 times on the character Duan, or even on my own head, it would be worth it. He saw a nail on the tree, with a small iron hammer hanging from it. He picked it up and struck the character Duan 3 times. The hammer made a clear, metallic sound when it hit, which was quite loud. Duan Yu was taken aback for a moment, realizing that the character Duan was backed by an iron plate, and the space behind it was hollow. Since the outside was painted white, he hadn't noticed it at first. He struck it 2 more times and hung the hammer back. After a while, he heard a young girl's voice from behind the pine tree, exclaiming with joy, Miss has returned. Duan Yu replied, I have been entrusted by Miss Shang to come and pay my respects to the valley master. The girl, surprised, asked, where is my young miss? Duan Yu, unable to see her, said, Miss Shang has encountered a dangerous situation, and I have come specially to report it. The girl, alarmed, inquired, what kind of danger? Duan Yu explained, Miss Shang had been captured by others, and her life may be in peril. The girl said, oh dear, you, wait a moment, let me inform the mistress. Duan Yu responded, that would be very kind of you. He thought to himself, Miss Shang originally instructed me to meet her mother first. He stood there for a while, listening to the sound of footsteps approaching from behind the tree. Soon, the young girl from before said, the mistress requests your presence. As she turned and came out, Duan Yu noticed that she was about 15 or 16 years old. Dressed as a maid, she said, young master, please follow me. Duan Yu asked, what is your name? Sister, the maid shook her head, signaling that she should not speak. Duan Yu did not dare to ask further. The maid led him through a grove of trees, following a path to the left, and arrived at a tile roof house. She pushed open the door and gestured for Duan Yu to enter first. Duan Yu walked in and saw a small hall with a pair of large candles lit on the table. Although the hall was not large, it was quite elegantly decorated. After he sat down, the maid brought him tea and said, young master, please have some tea. The mistress will come to see you shortly.